Howdy Climb Strong athletes. This video is going to be talking a little bit about what we can be doing during this process or this time being quarantined and practicing the social distancing. Is a time to really work on individual fingers or pocket training, okay? So especially if you're someone who likes to visit Lander, Wyoming, you're going to want to get really good at monos, shallow two fingers, and everything in between. But some of you are, climb on granite or big open holds, say on sandstone, where you can still benefit from training individual fingers, especially the ring finger, because this is the one that seems to get injured the most. That A4 pulley gets strained. I bet you people that are watching this right now are like, oh yeah, I remember when that's happened. Oh, I remember when it happened on both my fingers over the course of a few years. So just because you're not a limestone climber or someone who climbs on pockets doesn't mean you can't train individual fingers. Okay, we love the half crimp, we love open hand, we love full crimp, pinches, all the versions of climbing holds that we're used to. But for you non-limestone climbers or non-pocket climbers, you can still benefit from this and see less injuries in your individual digits in the future. But if you're someone who wants to visit a limestone crag or come to the festival for the summer each year and get your ass kicked at Wild Iris, this is your time to get those monos and those individual fingers in shape for those heinous pockets that you all like to see here. So what we do here, I think personally, this is not a plug. We do love tension climbing. We're not sponsored by them, but this is probably one of the most useful tools. I know a lot of you have this at home right now and you're training with it. If you don't, that's okay. I know they can't ship anything out right now, currently, hopefully here soon, but you might be able to do this on your hangboard as well. And what you're gonna do is you might not be able to hang on your mono or these two finger pockets individually on your hangboard, so you can put a kickboard out, a step ladder, some sort of thing to take some weight off. Some of you are getting fancy with some of the pulley systems with putting a big kettlebell on the other end to take some weight off, and you can kind of start to back that off as you get better at it. But I like this one because it's less stressful on the shoulders, and it's really easy to just find the weight you can pull and you just go on from there. Again, if you don't have one of these, you don't have to. You can use it on your hangboard, but you have to get creative about how you can take weight off, especially if you're new to this. And I really encourage you all, if you've never trained individual fingers, take it super duper slow, because you can go from like, wow, this is a great workout, to, oh my gosh, I've hurt my finger for the rest of my quarantining days. So let's not do that, okay? If you have something like this though, you might have kettlebells or dumbbells, or maybe using water jugs or a small dog to attach to your pinch block, which we have actually seen, to load up your fingers. Just make sure you're keeping track. Let's keep it within the strength realm, 3 to 5 sets of 3 to maybe 12 seconds at the most. We're not doing these duration hangs for these individual strength type pocket holds, but I want some of you to think about some of the fingers that you're using, or some of the combination of fingers that you're using. A lot of people have done mono training or middle two or front two, but some people don't think about, here in Lander we have some pretty funky holds, and depending how big your fingers are and depending on how it feels, like the orientation of your hand, sometimes like your knuckles being stuffed up against the rock because of where the pocket lies, you might actually work on using your back too. So training your back too seems so crazy and it feels so weak, but as you get better at it and you start to get on your project and you're like, whoa, this feels so much better than a really tight first two or middle two, I'm going to use my back two. But you've got to train it, and it's going to take a little while to get there. So this is what this should look like if you're using kettlebells or whatever, some sort of weight that you're using here. And let's see here, right? We've got a 2-finger pocket, we've got some edges and a mono. This 2-finger pocket's about 25 mil, so it's a nice, like, pretty medium size. It's not massive, but it's also not like scary dishy. But you can do front two, that's really important, like this. You can do middle two, right? And you just hold in these positions for a strength second count, anywhere in that 3 to 10 or 12 second range. Again, back two, right? This is gonna feel a little bit harder, but you can still do this, right? You might have to do a little bit of a lower load, or maybe you only have one weight, you'll just do it for a little bit longer. And then you can also switch this thing around and do your mono training. Okay, this is a really good time to practice or to get stronger in those individual finger positions, not only for injury prevention and all the climbing you do, but if you want to go to a limestone crag or a pockety area like Wild Iris that usually shuts people down, you're going to come this summer or this fall and be super ready because of your quarantining days behind the hangboard or a pinch block. So keep it safe. If you've never trained these positions, keep it really easy. If you're someone who climbs in these kind of areas or have trained these kind of positions before, figure out where you need to be for your initial kind of week, and then you can build on it. Remember, try to build a little bit of volume before you start to make the edge size a little bit smaller or the weight a little bit heavier. So if you're doing 3 sets of some 8-second rounds, make it 4, make it up to 5, and then maybe week 3 or 4 or 5, you can drop it back down to 3 sets and add some load or make it a smaller hold size, but really don't overdo it. It can go, it's such a fine line. It can go from an awesome hangboard session to now I've hurt my finger for 5 weeks. So have fun with it, get those fingers strong.